A dear friend of mine has asked me to tell her story for her, and so today I'm going to begin by saying for the Christian the important thing is that we learn to be obedient to what God expects from us. My friend failed to observe some warning flags, and by doing so the cost to her was very great. The red flags were flying, and the sirens were going off, and people were talking, and all of these things were red flags to my friend. But she said, people always have their own opinions and things to say. And so she ignored these things without further investigation. As time went on, she began to become more involved in her relationship with the pastor. Finally, in the course of things, he asked her to marry him, but it was after she was admitted to the hospital and diagnosed with a brain tumor and had begun chemotherapy treatments. And in that state of mind, she said she was very confused about things and she had trouble thinking clearly. But nevertheless, when he asked her to marry him, she did not know the doctors had told her family she could only live a few more days. Without knowing this, my friend said she ignored a voice she heard inside herself that said, "Wait till you are well." Instead, she said yes to the proposal. As soon as she was out of the hospital for this round of treatments, the wedding was performed, and she began her married life to this local pastor. Immediately afterward, he took a mission trip, and she spent most of her time in bed recovering from the recent chemotherapy treatment. Periodically, over the next 6 months, she was in and out of the hospital for treatments. She did not die within a few days, but rather completed the full round of treatments that was done. During that time, she spent most of her time in bed. She slept a great deal and was not able to take care of most of her affairs. Prior to the completion of her therapy, however, she had given power of attorney, bank accounts, credit cards, and all the needed things into her husband's hands and trusted him to take care of those things for her. She did say that he was very helpful in getting her back and forth to the hospital for her treatments, and for that she was very grateful, and she really loved this man. Finally, as the treatments were done and she began to get more clear-headed, she went to the bank to make some deposits there and found her account had been overdrawn. Additionally, there came other indications of financial trouble. Bills began to arrive. The credit card she had given to her husband was maxed out, and all of these things began to come to her awareness. The more clear-headed she became, the more she questions her husband's behavior. What happened with this bill or that bill? What happened to the credit card? And various things were asked. During that time, she found that he was saying, "Oh, don't worry, I'll take care of that. It's all right, I've been down there," and one excuse after another was made. Finally, the seriousness of the financial situation began to just come crashing in, that she was going to be owing thousands and thousands of dollars. During this time, she had to question him about it because she needed to know where these various and sundry purchases were being made. In addition to that, she noticed that some of the medications that were prescribed for her during her treatment had been filled, and she had never taken those medications. The suspicions began to increase, and she tried to find answers. But suddenly one day, he left. The next day he phoned and said, "I want to come and pick up some of my things," which he did. She tried to talk with him. He would not talk with her, and he left for the last time. Weeks passed, months passed. She tried to find him, tried to get in touch, tried to make a connection, tried to understand what was happening. But there was no correspondence. The years passed. Finally, after more than 3 years of trying to correct a marriage and finding out sexual explorations and various and sundry other things that happened, she felt that she had to divorce, and she did. Now, what my friend wants all of us to learn is that when God is trying to direct your path, He does give you warning signs. He does try to present truth to you so that you can make good decisions. She ignored those warning signs. She ignored that inner voice that said, "Don't wed until you are well." How many of us have been there and done that? If not a situation exactly like this one, certainly there's been some situation in your life where you've gotten yourself in trouble because you did your own thing. You ignored warning signs. You ignored the counsel of other people. You ignored what you knew the Scripture said. And now today, there's a price to pay. Well, I want you to know that God forgives, that God is a loving Father. He knows that we stumble about. He knows that we are bent on doing our own thing. But He is a God of the second, the third, and the fourth chances. He is a God who will forgive when we return to Him with our whole heart and begin again. God will begin with you if you will begin again. So you've been there and you've done that. Who hasn't? Today can be a new day for you. A new beginning, a new start. Lay it down, forgive it, go back to God, and confess what you've done. He will hear you. He will accept you. I invite you to do that today.